Yes, I know what you're thinking. Everyone has already reviewed this game months ago. The discourse is dead and the memes are practically buried at this point. Half of you have already probably beaten this game about 2 times and you've already moved on with your lives. But you know, here I am, fashionably late as always, finally sitting down to talk about Resident Evil 9 Requiem. Honestly, playing it after all the hype, that might be the best call I've made in a long time. Because now I can tell you what this game actually is, not buying into the hype and telling you what the internet wanted it to be. And for all of you guys that hate sitting around watching video game reviews, I'm going to give this game a 7 out of 10, and I'm going to explain why. Let's get into it. Quick rundown about what this game looks like or what it's about for those people who haven't played it, and I'm not going to go into any spoilers for those that, eventually do plan on playing it. Requiem has you playing as 2 characters. Grace Ashcroft, a new FBI agent who, just being completely honest, is tragically unprepared for what she's about to walk into. It's almost kind of like damsel in distress for her at this point. And then the other character you play as is Leon Kennedy. I mean, does the man need an intro? If you've played a Resident Evil game the last, 20, 25, 30 years, you know that this guy is him, right? Like, Leon Kennedy is a man who's fought so many zombies at this point, it's like second nature. The guy can do it in his sleep. Kind of talking about Grace's playstyle, she plays more like a typical, classic survival horror game. It's a little bit more tense, resource scarce, you're kind of doing a little bit of hide and seek and kind of praying that you don't get discovered, whereas Leon is just like your typical action movie guy, right? The contrast is honestly brilliant. You spend 45 minutes barely surviving a hallway as Grace and trying to sneak around and make your way through, and then boom, you switch to Leon and that hallway is basically cleared in 30 seconds using his arsenal of massive weapons that he has to choose from. Let me start off with the good stuff, and there's genuinely a lot of it. First off, the graphics are just flat out amazing, and even months after launch, the game still looks incredible. The Resident Evil engine continues to be an absolute workhorse, and Requiem might be its best showcase. The lighting, the environments, the character faces, all of it just looks stunning. And speaking of the characters, Grace and Leon are both great. Grace feels genuinely vulnerable in a way that makes you actually care about her survival, and Leon is, it's Leon. The man is a fucking action movie star and he's a badass. The guns feel fantastic to shoot. There's weight and feedback to every shot, and every weapon just feels so different and it just feels good. Popping off shots as Leon using the Requiem is ultimately super satisfying, and when you kill something, it just feels great. And the perspective switch, Grace in first person and Leon in third, genius. Perfect call, you get the best of both worlds. It's not just a visual gimmick, it's completely changes how each character feels, so I really recommend you play with the recommended settings for this one. Grace's first person view makes everything scarier and more claustrophobic, where Leon's third person kind of feels more cinematic, kind of toned to Resident Evil 6. It's a small thing that makes a massive difference. Now we're going to talk about some things that I feel like just didn't work with this game, and if you guys disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to have a discussion with you and maybe get your perspective on maybe, where I was wrong. But for starters, I feel like the merchant system was just kind of lazy and it was kind of boring. We've come from past Resident Evil games where the merchant is just awesome and the character is great and it's mysterious and it's fun, and now we just kind of are stuck with the box that gives you points for killing zombies, so it was almost like an afterthought. Some of the levels I just kind of felt like were boring and it almost seemed like it was a chore. And if you guys play, you'll understand what I'm talking about. A lot of, go get this, go get that, and you need this to get that, which, I'm aware that past Resident Evil games had the same kind of system, but this just seems like they were adding this to kind of extend the game, minutes and hours, and it just felt almost lazy. And I had this complicated kind of relationship with Leon sections because I generally love them, but they also kind of go a little too far sometimes in the action sense. And don't get me wrong, I get it. Leon is supposed to be fun, he's supposed to be cool, but I don't know, some of these moments just felt a little over the top and it was just ridiculous. And there's parts where it stops feeling like a Resident Evil and it starts feeling like a different game entirely. It's just kind of weird. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be like that. Resident Evil 4 proved you can do action and horror at the same time. That game had you feeling powerful and terrified, sometimes in the same room. Requiem's Leon, I feel like the sections kind of forgot about the terrified part, and it leans so hard into the action that it kind of loses the tension that makes this franchise so special. Overall, I feel like Leon's kind of too intense action parts kind of hurt Grace's parts. Her sections are generally so tense and well crafted, but after this wild Leon chapter, switching back to a slow survival horror feeling kind of almost feels jarring. Like Leon's action, ridiculous parts make Grace's sections kind of feel like a cooldown rather than a scary highlight that they're supposed to be. So here's the real question for an after the hype review. Should you play it now? If you skipped it, if you were just kind of waiting for the sale, or if you just never got around to it, is Resident Evil Requiem still worth your time in the big 2026? Yeah, absolutely. The game is great. If you're a fan of the series, you're going to love this. There's a lot of fanfare, and I don't want to get into too much spoilers, but there is a section where you go back to Raccoon City and you go to the police station where Leon, first started his journey, and it's in Rubbles, and I spent so much time just kind of exploring that section. It's not the all-time masterpiece our launch reviews made it out to be, but it's a really well-crafted game. It's fun, it's tense, it looks amazing, and it pays a lot of respect on homage to the franchise. Stripped of all the hype, it's still a confident quality release. 7 out of 10. I'm going to stick with that score. It's a great game, not perfect. The hype was slightly ahead of the reality, but listen, it's still really great. If it's on sale right now, or if it's not, stop waiting. Just play the game. Trust me. Anyways, that's my very punctual, not so on time review on Resident Evil 9 Requiem. Drop a comment. Did the hype match your experience, or did it oversell it for you? I'm curious. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and if you want more reviews from someone who definitely plays games in a timely fashion, I'll see you guys in the next one.